I'm glad you're here because I'd heard Chris, you were on with Chris talking about this stuff, and I think this is absolutely so important.
And thank you for having me, Chad. It's great to meet you. What we're trying to do is inspire and encourage men. And the thing that I've figured out here in the last few months, I think a lot of people on the right or in the conservative space or in the evangelical space, I think we've taken a breath and are exhaling, kind of thinking, hey, we won the election. There's good news coming. And I think we've relaxed too much. There's still work to be done. And so the messaging of Roll Call, this is the third year of it, has been about, hey, men, we got to stand up and get involved in this culture war. We got to stand on our biblical values and get involved in this culture war. And what I'm figuring out is like people are exhaling and kind of feel relaxed. Trump's in office and he's done some executive orders, blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to get men back together and get us to understand the fight's not over. The racial division and identity stuff that the left loves to promote, it's not over. It's actually intensifying. And so I want us to stand together as believers. And so, yeah, I'm very excited about Roll Call 3.0. It's this May 2nd and 3rd. On Friday, May 2nd, Tucker Carlson's going to be here with me. We'll be at 3rd and Lindsley for a VIP event on that Friday, May 2nd, start around, I think, 7 p.m. Randy Houser is going to perform for us. So we're going to have great country music, great conversation between Tucker Carlson and myself. And comedian Steve Byrne is going to open it up for us with a stand-up routine so it's going to be a great, fun evening for you, your wife and her friends or whatever. It's a great VIP event, and it's very affordable. This is Tucker Carlson, Randy Houser, Steve Byrne, myself. And if you go to our website right now, you can get tickets for that for as little as $100.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. And so what you need, though, is the promo code 997, and you get 50% off any of the tickets to the VIP events that we're having on Friday or Saturday. Saturday, we have the Roll Call event, myself and pastors from around the country, some musical entertainment from my friend Damian Horn and others, great speakers. It's a more inspirational day. That's only, use my promo code. You can get into that event for just $50. And then Saturday night, we have a post-roll call party at the home of Lee and Julie Beeman. It's going to kind of have a Tommy Bahama Beats-like theme, great music, the Duggar Band, Seth and Jordan Duggar, those guys that have the song True Colors, they'll be performing at their home. Get into that for $100. Actually, maybe 50 with the promo code 997. So I just want to encourage people because I figured out this year, like, the message needs to be a bit different. And so I'm actually taking the hit on this. And I say this without ego or complaint. We're giving you this opportunity to come socialize and gather with us and have a great weekend, you and your wife, you and your significant other, men. We're giving you this opportunity. I'm going to lose money on this deal because I just want people there. And I feel like we put together an awesome event. It's going to be inspiring. It's going to be encouraging. And I'm going to help you understand that those of us that are believers, those of us that want to see America righted and continue to move forward, we have to come together across these little racial differences and identity differences that they're using to divide us. And so that's what this is about. One of my good friends, Pastor Corey Brooks from out of Chicago, we went to college together at Ball State. He's the rooftop pastor. He's got a church in the heart of the inner city in Chicago. He spoke at the RNC, was one of the people that Trump and the team brought in to speak at the RNC. He's going to be here with some members of his congregation. This is going to be a great, entertaining. We're going to feed you. We're going to give you great music. We're going to inspire you. And you're going to be a part of participating in something that brings us together through our faith and through our beliefs, our values, very patriotic event. Just want you to participate. Go to fearlessrollcall.com right now. Use the promo code 997, 50% off all of our tickets?
I love what you're doing, and the reality is this isn't going anywhere. The wokeness, the wackiness. I mean, just Harvard the other day said, now we're going to sue you. We're going to take you guys on. This is a battle that isn't, the woke is, they're going to destroy their own, which is fine. But, men, I keep saying, we've devalued fathers, and you've talked about this. I've listened to you for years. You've talked about this. We've devalued fathers, first in the black home, in the black community, and the destruction there is insane. I was watching a guy do an interview the other day. It was the most fascinating thing. He was talking about one of the guards that he met that kind of became his girlfriend, and he had a phone, and he was worried about getting caught, but he said, don't worry, because my cellie was my dad, who was in for double murder, and that's like the first time they'd kind of ever been together. And I thought to myself, we have so devalued fathers that this is... You want to find out where fatherlessness gets you and the devaluation of men in society? Go to a prison.
Chad, you've teed me up perfectly. I melt down about this issue virtually daily. No one wants to deal with the obvious consequences of the destruction of the nuclear family. And I talk about this constantly, like Black America has been the lab rats for the liberal agenda of destroying the nuclear family. And let's look honestly and boldly and transparently at the results of the destruction of the family. Our young men, they have no emotional control. Go look at it, and I've talked about this on my show, this Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf situation in Frisco, Texas. Black men have been programmed through prison culture and the spread of prison culture through rap music. They've been programmed. Anything they perceive as disrespectful requires an aggressive response, if not a violent response. And so Carmelo Anthony gets asked to move out of a tent where he doesn't belong, and he feels disrespected and feels he has to respond in an aggressive fashion. Oh, he put his hands on me, therefore I stab him in the heart. And so what happened to this 17-year-old suburban white kid, and it's a tragedy. And I only bring up race to say that what Austin Metcalf experienced goes on in Chicago and these urban areas every single day. Some young black boy that's caught up in this, what they call black culture, which is hip hop culture, which is prison culture, they feel a tiny twinge of disrespect and say, I'm going to shoot or I'm going to turn violent towards this person. Most of the time, it only affects young black men in those urban areas. But that mentality is spreading out to our suburbs. That mentality and this destruction of the nuclear family, they want all ethnicities to experience this. And we're seeing the divorce rate and the lack of marriage rates in other demographics, including the white demographic, escalate. And eventually, once they tear down, they've already done it to the black family. 80% of these kids are being born to single mamas and in single parent households. It's now let's move it on to the rest of the culture. And now let's poison all of culture that these rappers that are basic thugs, they promote a degenerate lifestyle. There are mainstream entertainers. We're platforming them at the Super Bowl and celebrating them as if they bring something positive to the culture. It's a nihilistic mindset that they want to impose on all of America. You can sit there in the comfort of your home or suburb and think, well, that's not really my problem. Trust me, they want it to be your problem, and they're trying to make it your problem. And that's why there's so much promotion of non-nuclear families, non-biblical families. I'm very biblical. There's only marriage between man and woman. And this whole redefining of marriage, it's unbiblical. You can't have marriage without God. God established marriage. It wasn't man. It's in the Bible. They're trying to destroy the nuclear family, get us all involved in relationships that don't produce family, don't properly develop young men or young girls, make us all make sex or identity, sexual identity, gender identity, very fluid, where men look like women and women look like men and we're all the same. We're not all the same. We have to stay in this fight. And we can't allow, to connect all the dots, we can't allow them to use fear of you being called racist. And so that's why they try to frame all these things they're doing as, well, this is black and you're being racist against black culture, because they want to shout you down and bully you down so that you don't speak against this stuff. And so I can't wait for myself. Tucker Carlson and I are friends, been friends for a long time. The conversation we're going to have Friday, May 2nd at the VIP event at 3rd and Lindsley is going to be amazing. It's going to be bold. You're going to hear me and Tucker Carlson talking about the things you talk about in the privacy of your home, but mainstream media doesn't talk about it. We're going to talk about it. That's why I desperately want you at this event. The 3rd and Lindsley is a very intimate setting. There's only room for about 400 people. On Saturday, we'll be at Rocket Town, and so we can invite more people in. But and Saturday night, Lee and Julie Beeman's estate, could probably fit all of Nashville in there. But this stuff is just very important, Chad.
It is, because I saw this lady the other day. She was brilliant. She was talking about the things that nobody wants to talk about, Jason. If you are married and you have a child, chances of them going to jail are virtually nil. If you're a single woman and you have a child, chances of your kid going to jail is exponentially greater. If you're a male and you have a child and you're a single father, the chances of them going to jail is the same as a married couple.
Boom.
And yet we have completely devalued men. I am a father first and foremost. All this other stuff I do in life is whatever it is. It matters most that I raise young men and women that are strong, that represent, God, but a real world take on what is happening out there, and to be strong out there. And we have lost our way where it's not important being a parent. I heard Ronan Chappell the other day say, all my friends who have kids are miserable. And, and then all of a sudden there's this debate online about, well, women, they're all coming out going, I don't really like my kid. It is miserable having kids. This is not a safe place, and a place that is great for our society moving forward.
Well, kids are in the most jeopardy when you remove a man from a home.
Absolutely.
And when mother and father aren't together, again, kids become more vulnerable because there's less supervision. We always love to talk about how the police engage with young people. Well, the first police officers should be called mama and daddy. And those are the people that need to be supervising, disciplining your kids, rather than worrying about when they leave the home and you're not around, how do they engage with police? What type of supervision are you providing them in your home? And to your point about male leadership is being demonized in America. We think the more we I'm a former college football player. My background is in sports media.
You sure you want a swimmer?
I made my name talking about sports. They've convinced us that, hey, if we just add more women to football, if we get more women coaching football, if we get more women involved in football, that's going to make things better. Because, and the other side of the message they're leaving out is because men are evil. They're toxically masculine. And it's just not true. We need more male leadership, not less.
I love it. Can you stick around for one more?
Absolutely. I can stick around for...
Oh, he's sticking around the whole time. I like that. Coming up, we got more. Jason Whitlock, we're going to talk about what's going on this weekend, but I want to ask you a couple different things about what's going on globally and how I think this is playing into, if we don't get our act together, we're going to be in some serious trouble. It is Super Talk 99.7. A lot of people chiming in. Jason Whitlock is in here. He's got his event. It is May 2nd and 3rd. It's called Fearless Army Roll Call. It is happening here in Nashville. Women are texting in going, can women come to the event?
Absolutely. FearlessRollCall.com. Go there right now. Friday night's VIP event. Perfect for women, perfect for couples. Saturday night's VIP event at Lee and Julie Beeman's amazing estate, and music from the Duggar Band and this Hawaiian theme or beach theme and great music. Perfect for women, perfect for couples. Saturday during the day is for men. We're going to make your man a better man, send him home to you to take you to, so when he takes you to the Saturday night party, he's a better man. He's inspired. We've got some direction in him. But yeah, go to fearlessrollcall.com right now. Use the promo code 997. You know what 997 means, don't you? Aren't you listening to 997?
That's right.
Use that promo code, 50% off any of our tickets. You can see me and Tucker Carlson and Randy Hauser Friday night. Your man can get all fired up and inspired by Pastor Alan Jackson out of World Outreach Church in Murfreesboro. We got E.W. Jackson coming in from Virginia. Great speaker. Set the place on fire last year. He's amazing. Corey Brooks, my former classmate at Ball State, spoke at the RNC this past year. He runs a mega church in the heart of the inner city in Chicago. Trump supporter, biblically based guy. Doug Wilson coming in from Moscow, Idaho, one of the great educational leaders in the Christian space. Musical performance from Damian Horn and Tamara Conrad. These are great, valued events. FearlessRollCall.com, promo code 997 for 50% off any of your tickets.
Before we went to break, I lived in Europe for a decade, and I was telling my wife the other day, I said I wouldn't right now feel like I could even go to a place like the UK, first of all, because I've posted stuff I'm sure would get me in trouble. But it has become a different place, and this insanity of which I'm watching, I read a great article in Telegraph the other day about the great diversity chase that Sweden had that went completely wrong because it became about everybody come here and live the life the way that you used to live it. You don't have to come in and be a part of Sweden. It is fallen apart, and it is getting worse by the day. And I feel like we're running at that because our culture is not the rest of the world's culture. The Western culture is much different, and we better start paying attention to what is happening out there.
Chad, I'm going to say something really transparent, but I've been saying it for the last 3 years. The first step in defeating and making sure what's happened to the UK doesn't happen to us. And I'm saying this not to be divisive. I'm not saying this to be provocative. This has been my message. The first step in it, white men have to quit apologizing for being white men. White men have to quit apologizing for America's history because America's history by the leftists has been unpacked in an unfair way. And we have a terrific story in this country of how white evangelical men built a constitution and a country that made it possible to end slavery, made it possible for Black Americans to push for freedom and make America live up to its best values, the values expressed in the Declaration of Independence, the values expressed in the Constitution. If there weren't white evangelical men that established this country, wrote that Declaration of Independence, wrote that Constitution, and if there weren't Black men and women fighting for freedom that forced America to live up to those values in the Constitution and in the Declaration of Independence and in our Bill of Rights, America would have never become the greatest country in the history of the planet. Our story, yes. Does our story have some tragedy and some oppression as a part of it? Yes. But our story here in America is about Black and white people trying to have shared values, shared biblical values, and the freedom that produced and made us the envy of the world. We need to, as men in general, we need to quit apologizing for America's history. And we need to quit apologizing for being men and wanting to be leaders. And we need to stand up. And for those of us that have biblical values, we need to stand on what's in that scripture because we understand that Constitution was based on a biblical worldview and taken straight from the Bible. John Adams, one of our founding fathers, said, hey, this country and the way this Constitution was written was only for a righteous and faith-believing country. If we lose our righteousness, if we lose our faith in God, this country won't work for us. And so they're trying to take the country away from us, from those of us that have biblical values, believe and understand this Constitution, and have the proper perspective on what American greatness really looked like and how we got here. And quit apologizing. I'm just telling, because they get you on your heels, and the next thing you know, you're afraid to stand on what you believe. I don't want to be called racist. I don't want to be called homophobic. I don't want to be called this. I don't want to be called that.
I don't care what people call. I get called all. Yes, man. You get called stuff all day long. I'm like, whatever. Every day I woke up to you're racist. Like, whatever. Yeah. All right, it's just a normal Tuesday for me. Jason Whitlock.
You're a racist.
Yes, I know I am. Thank you very much. Coming up, we got more of him talking about what's going on. It's exciting and it's something that you should pay attention to. Your men, your women, get your men, get your women, get everybody else, get him out there. We'll talk to him straight ahead. It's Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Jason Whitlock in studio. You and I were talking in the middle of the break. We were talking about what's going on in Europe and the failure of Europe's multiculturalism, because multiculturalism doesn't work. We have a culture. And finish your point, because I think it's a brilliant point.
Well, the reason I'm telling men to quit apologizing, American men to quit apologizing, is because there's nothing wrong with any man or woman that's an American wanting people to enter into our country and assimilate to American culture, American values, the American way. Don't be ashamed. Don't be fearful of like, oh no, because of diversity and multiculturalism, we need to let people come in and bring their values and their way of doing things from a foreign country and let them set up shop here in America. No, we shouldn't. And I want to, for those of you that have never seen me, don't know who I am, I just want to give you a brief description. Most people, when they see me, they like, is that Denzel Washington?
They do.
And so I get stopped on the street all the time. People think I'm Denzel Washington. So I just want to be crystal clear that I look like Denzel Washington. And I don't know what I sound like. I probably sound like Jason Whitlock, a fat black guy. But I look like Denzel Washington. And so when I'm telling you not to be ashamed, I know exactly what I'm doing. And there's a justification and a reason for it, because I've seen men bend at the threat of being called racist, and now they back away and think, well, in order for America to be successful, I need to be welcoming and tolerant of values that are anti-American.
Yeah.
And we can't do that. We can't allow that. This is the greatest country in the history of the planet, and as it relates to people like me that have more melanin and look like Denzel Washington, America is the safest place on the earth for black people. It's the most prosperous place on the earth for black people. It's the most opportunity-rich place on the earth for black people. And so all this complaining, America's this, and so no one wants to go anywhere. No one ever picks up and leaves and moves to this other country because they know it's not as good as America, and the values that our founding fathers put into place and built this country, everybody in their real mind knows that it works. We're looking at leftists and Marxists try to undermine American values and create a very divided country that's easier to fall, easier to manipulate, easier to fall into chaos, easier to impose a culture that's destructive, anti-family, anti-children, less safe for children. Children are more vulnerable. And if we as Americans don't realize like what we have and what they establish is worth preserving and worth making people uncomfortable by saying, hey, man, you can come in this country, but you're going to be American. You're going to adopt. We love free speech over here. We're not giving it up to make someone else's feelings not get hurt.
Amen.
We got thick enough skin, and those of us with a biblical worldview is like, I don't know if people realize this, but black Christians in the 1860s, they had a newspaper, and they coined the phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never harm me. That came from a black Christian newspaper, that saying and fly. And it was because black Christians used to fully understand only God's opinion of me matters. So I couldn't care less what some bigoted person thinks about me, because it doesn't matter. Only God's opinion of me matters. And so unless you're throwing sticks and stones at me, I don't care what you call me. As we become more secular and move away from that worldview, and the Marxists come in and say, oh, microaggressions. Oh, you experienced a microaggression, and you must respond to that very aggressively and emotionally. We got to cut it out. We got to get back to what made America great. male leadership, male innovation, proper roles between men and women. Men invented flying, the Wright brothers. It wasn't the Wright sisters. Men took sticks of dynamites and blew holes through mountains so that we could have paid roles and travel these places. And I'm not saying women played their role, and women are very important. You can't have life without women. You can't replenish the earth without women. Women are awesome. But we're kidding ourselves, pretending like men have been this incredible evil force against all of humanity, and we owe women this great debt. We don't. Our lifespans are shorter than women because we take all or most of the risks. We sacrifice our lives to protect women and children. Chad, I think there's a stat that 83% of the women on the Titanic survived and only 17% of the men did. And that's because men chose death to protect women. And so that's the 1913, 1912s, when men were in their proper mindset and we knew what our job was. And then they put up a picture of people fleeing Afghanistan when we pulled out of Afghanistan, and there were a bunch of men on the plane, and you could see women and children chasing after them. And it's like, this is how far men have gotten out of our role. We don't understand. It's our job to sacrifice for men and women. That's our role in life. That's what the Bible, Jesus' sacrifice, is all about. That's what the 12 disciples are all about. We've moved away from that, and now women are trying to step up in man's role, and because they have a womb and carry a baby, and they're always going to choose safety over freedom.
You know, there's a great report out, and it's about the nature of man and woman, and it was incredible. We talked about it here. When a couple has a child and the child wakes up at night, the woman's response from hearing the child is immediately to pop up. It's the nature response. It is. Most often, a man will sleep through that. A woman will sleep through the night when there's rustling outside, even if it is leaves. A man, in his nature response, is to wake up immediately because there is a threat of danger potentially. And the natural instinct is, I must protect.
Let me tell you how backwards, and yet I just gave you one example of how backwards the world is. I'm going to go straight to the news cycle from 3-4 years ago. And I've tried to explain this to people. The Breonna Taylor story out of Louisville, the woman that got killed during the drug bust, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, y'all got the wrong narrative on this. She's in bed with her alleged boyfriend. They hear noise at the door. So the first thing I do as a man is say, baby, you stay here. I'm going to go see what the trouble is at the door. Me and my woman don't jump up out of bed and go to the door together. And so I'm like, y'all can blame the police, but this idiot let him and his woman walk to the door. Then he fired a shot at the police, and they fired back. Any real man, baby, you sit right here. There's banging at the door. I'll go address it. But because things are so backwards and men have been so emasculated and women have been made to believe that they're just like men, that everybody just did everything wrong. If that man had went to the door by himself, maybe he would have got shot if he's an idiot and is going to shoot at a cop. Or maybe he wouldn't have been trying to either impress this woman or whatever he was. But because his mind has been brainwashed and he let him and his woman walk to the door together, and he got this woman killed. He fired the first shot. He let her go out there and help him address this situation. It's all unmanly. That should have been the story, not that the police responded to a policeman getting shot in the leg and then shot back. What are you going to do? You ever been shot at? Yeah. You're going to fire back.
Well, we were talking last week. It was the bass player from Weezer. His wife shot at the cops. They shot back. What do you expect? They were saying, hey, don't. Of course you're going to shoot back. What are you doing? I mean, he wasn't there. She was, and she thought she was protecting the neighborhood or whatever. Who knows what? But still, it's an odd situation. Let's talk about women's sports. The quicker that men get into women's sports, isn't it going to be better for all of us, Jason? I mean, come on. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but let's just be honest. If the WNBA was the NBA, we'd be watching the WNBA as well.
Look, the WNBA has something great with Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And has a chance to build some credit. But they're going to blow it because they want to be a league that promotes just keeping it real, angry lesbians who feel that they're underpaid, they want to lead with that. Rather than, hey, we got an exciting basketball player in Caitlin Clark that's drawing attention to our league. She's drawing fans to our leagues, and they're responding to the fact that they're just coming because she's a white woman. No.
Do you think she feels like I've got to pull back rather than be the face of the league? I want to make sure I share it with everybody else, because she should have competed in that 3-point contest. Why didn't she?
One, I don't think she wanted to bail out the NBA as it relates to the 3-point contest, and she didn't want to put more attention on herself because the angry lesbians, particularly the black ones, have shouted her down and scared her and told that it's one of the most undercovered stories in all of sports, just how anti-heterosexual the WNBA is. Trust me, if they were anti-gay, it would be a story and they'd cover it every day. But since they're anti-heterosexual, no one talks about it. But you've had black women and other heterosexual women run from that league because of the harassment that they have faced in that league. And Caitlin Clark's got a boyfriend/fiance, and they don't like her. And they're trying to bully her into hopping on board with their BLM mentality and their alphabet mafia mentality. It's sad because I like Caitlin Clark, but I've watched her kind of bend the knee to the culture there, and it's been a tiny bit disappointing.
Absolutely. One quick question about sports. The NIL insanity that's going on. The whole thing here with Nico and Tennessee and Dad getting involved and wanting more money, I think it's a perfect example of not quite understanding how great you had it.
No question about it. Only because it's your audience, I'm going to go a tiny bit bigger picture, because I think everyone can understand, hey, this kid's greedy, dad's greedy, and they just want more money. But what has happened to organized sports in America, if you go study the history of it, who organized sports globally and in America in the late 1800s? It was the Young Men's Christian Association, a.k.a. the YMCA. Most people don't even know what the YMCA stands for. But when it was originated, Young Men's Christian Association. And they had this view that we're going to promote a biblical masculinity through sports. They organized sports. The Catholic Youth Organization, the CYO, started in with the organizing of sports. And they wanted, again, promote biblical masculinity. As sports has turned more secular, it's lost. It's removed itself from all those Christian values and reflecting American values. And so now it's just all about greed and money now that it's a secular thing. And so some of this chaos is intentional because they've empowered the agents. Everything is about money, 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 money. And the agents are always thinking about how can I get more money, money, money. So Nico, hey, you're making $2 million here at Tennessee. I just got off the phone. You can make $3 million someplace else. Let's hit the transfer portal. It doesn't reward loyalty. It doesn't reward respect for elders and a hierarchy and paying your dues. These are all things that used to be commonplace in American sports, and it's all being stripped away because Marxists and the secular crowd have taken over the running of sports. And so the character of sports no longer reflects biblical values, the best ideals of Americana. None of that exists anymore in sports. It's just greed. It might as well be Wall Street.
It is. Absolutely well said. Jason Whitlock here. It is Chad Benson Show. We're going to wrap it up straight ahead. Super Talk 997.